Well, hey, everybody. Let's record episode number. What number are we on here? 173 of Mike in the Midwest. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 173 of Mike in the Midwest, our mini podcast for the amazing patrons just like you of the Be Our Guest podcast. Of course, this is Mike Rallman, host of the Be Our Guest podcast. You can find us at beourguestpodcast.com. If you have not checked out our website, I know it's kind of old fashioned, feels kind of like 2010, but we do have a website at beourguestpodcast.com with lots of information there. You can link to the Patreon, you can link to the show archives, and you can listen to the show right there with one click. But I do prefer that you subscribe to the show. That's the best way because it does support us and keep us up in the rankings and Apple Podcasts and so forth. But we do have a website there in a pinch if you ever need to listen to the show, beourguestpodcast.com. But you can find me there. You can find me here and there and everywhere at Be Our Guest Mike on all the socials. Would love to talk to you on Twitter. That's where I hang out most of the time still, even though it's not what it used to be. I'm just old and can't change too well. So I hang out over there. A lot of sports still, talk still happens on Twitter. So that's kind of where I am. I'm on Instagram as well. I'm not the world's greatest picture taker, but I do like to see everybody else's photos. So that's kind of a good place for me to land. And I'll tell you what, Instagram, something about their algorithm. I buy stuff on Instagram occasionally. They really do market well to me, especially the college sports stores, like with their sweatshirts and stuff like that. I don't always buy the stuff, but man, they tempt me. I'm always so close to putting stuff in my cart on Instagram. I think of all the places, even better than Amazon, Instagram. Those Instagram ads, whew, they're effective. I mean, I don't know about you. Do you guys buy stuff on Instagram? Because like it's so visual, and I don't know, like it's right. Everything that they present to me on Instagram in my feed is like right in my wheelhouse. Like they know me better than I know me. Like every time I see a picture of something, it's like, oh, those are some like gray Mizzou sweatpants. Like I need those. My birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks. Basically, what I've told my wife, because I always tell my wife I don't need anything for my birthday, but my mother-in-law, she's awesome. My wife's mom, she always takes care of everybody in the family when it comes to birthdays and Christmas. And she gets on you like 2 months before Christmas and 2 months before your birthday. She's always like, I need a list. She will call and she will bother you. She'll be like, I need the list because you got to get something for your birthday. You got to get something for Christmas. And so if you don't give her something, she gets offended. So what I do, screenshot stuff that I've been getting in my Instagram feed because that's easy because, it's easy for her. She could just go online and order it and then it'll come in right to her house. And then when we have Thanksgiving, that's when we celebrate my birthday. Boom, bam, bing, it's done. And I have something I like. So, but I don't know, like this is good feedback for next week. I love your feedback. So I don't know. Does Instagram get you? I mean, because it's like they market so well. It's crazy because there'll be things that come up there that like I've never thought of and like I didn't even know existed. And they'll be like, holy cow, they make that? And I'm like, I have to have that, but I don't always buy it because I'm cheap. But I'm like, I had no idea that was even a thing. Anyway, so that's Instagram ads. But you can find me, Be Our Guest Mike. Let's talk. All right. So what's going on this week? Just here in the studios because I got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to try to keep it to like 25 minutes. I don't want this show to get away because our main podcasts have been getting a little bit long, and I apologize for that. So this week, unfortunately, our Francis Howell Vikings did lose in the football playoffs. We did move this year up to the biggest division in Missouri. Last year, we were the undefeated Class 5A state champions, as you know. We did not lose a game last year. We were in the second to largest division in Missouri. This year, they moved us up to the biggest school division, 6A, which is the largest. And last Friday night, we hosted the defending state champions in 6A. They were the big school champions for the last 2 years. So it was the 5A champions, us, against the 6A champions, them. They were the two-time defending champions. They won last year and the year before, and they were a private school. So it's kind of a little bit unfair. I mean, I don't want to make excuses, but a private school does not have to worry about district boundaries. They can draw kids from anywhere in the state because you don't have to live in the district. It's a private school. They can just bring kids and they can give scholarships because their best player happened to be their best two players would have gone to Francis Howell because they lived in our school district, but instead they got offered scholarships and went to CBC, Christian Brothers College School. and they showed out against us, but we were lost by 1 point. And the thing is, if you know football at all, and even if you don't, we tied the game at the end of the game. And actually we got within 1 point, and our coach, with 4 minutes left in the game, went for a 2-point conversion, which means and here's what this was the buzz. Like, our whole town was there. There were 6,000 people at this football game in our little high school football stadium. And the thing was, like, we're going for 2. So we could have kicked the extra point with 4 minutes left, and the game would have been tied with 4 minutes left. But instead, we tried to go for 2, which means you run a play, and if you score basically like a touchdown, you get 2 points instead of kicking it for 1 point. So if we'd have made the successful 2-point conversion, we would have gone up by 1 and probably won the game. But if you're unsuccessful on the 2-point conversion, you obviously are probably going to lose the game by 1, which is what happened. So there's a lot of talk in our community about, the coach's decision. I love our coach. We've had nothing but success since he's been around for the last 5 years, Coach Shinaki. And I love it. Like, it took guts in front of the whole community. I mean, all these players to put it on the line and say, you know what, let's do this. Let's lay it on the line. Let's go for it. We're going to either win or lose right here on this play. We have 2 yards, the ball sitting on the 2-yard line. We're going to either score or we're not. We're going to win or we're going to lose on this play. We're not going to tie it up and go to overtime and see what happens in 15 more minutes. We're going to make it happen or not right now. We're going to play our best play and may the best team win over these next 2 yards. Didn't work out for us, but I couldn't be more proud of our team and our community. We handled it well. I'll tell you what, you may have seen on Twitter if you saw me, the other team did not handle it well. I mean, and they're a private school, and they came over and taunted our fans after the victory because it was at our school. They, a couple of the kids ran over to our bench and started picking fights with our players. Our players showed nothing but class. And, it's disappointing. They hadn't lost a game in over a year. And, I love our program because we had sportsmanship on our side of the field. Unfortunately, the private school did not, which shocked me because I used to play against this school when I was in school, 50 years ago, it felt like, and it wasn't like that. So anyway, that's what's happening around here. Mizzou on a run, my college team. Holy cow. Let me tell you real quick about that real quick. And then we'll get into the feedback and we'll talk about this week's topic, which I think you're going to like because it's Disney related. This is not a football story. This is if you're a movie buff, probably my top 3 movies, which I showed my kids every year when I was a teacher, was Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington. And I always showed it in February during Black History Month because we always did all kinds of, Black history activities because I taught in Ferguson Florissant School District. Our school district was 96% African-American. And so we did a lot of, everything we did was very diverse and stuff like that. But I loved that movie because that movie was about how, the time when the schools were being, desegregation was coming in and, schools were being combined and kids were having to go to school together. These high schools were being brought together, but it was a football movie, right? The football was kind of the subplot of this movie. Kids were having to work together as a team. And that's my jam. Like, I wish I could have been a football coach. The circumstances just didn't work out because I left education. But right now, what we're seeing at Mizzou, it's like we're going through the movie Rudy in the movie Remember the Titans. Because we have 3 we're having a great year this year. We're 8-2. We just smoked out Tennessee, which is a rival school that just whooped us the last 2 years. The last 2 years, they scored over 60 points against us. And at the end of the game, both years, they scored points they didn't need to just to make a statement. They just rubbed it in our face. And the thing is, I think I've said this either here or on Twitter. It's hard to be a Mizzou fan because everybody says we don't belong in our league because we're the most northernmost team in the Southeastern Conference. We were just added in 2013. People say, oh, Mizzou doesn't belong in the SEC. They're not a good enough school. We have this complex because everybody always says that, like, Mizzou doesn't belong. We're not good enough. We're not Southern enough. We're not this. We're not that. And so we have these 3 players I just want to address real quick because we're living a movie this season. This is why I'm so proud of these kids. One is our quarterback, Brady Cook. He's having a phenomenal year. Now, this kid, it's going to get emotional because I'm telling you, this is something. He got booed the first couple of games of the year because he didn't have great year. He didn't have great games. This kid's from St. Louis. He played high school right in these high school in St. Louis area. And all he wanted to do when he was a little kid, like 6, 7, 8 years old. You see all these pictures. He has all these pictures he puts on social media in his Mizzou jersey. Like all of us that grew up, like me, like, all these kids I know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, wearing their Mizzou jersey, going to the games like I did. That's all he wanted to do. He didn't want to, be a professional player. He just wanted to be a Mizzou Tiger. And now he's a Mizzou Tiger. And when he was having his tough times, his quote was, he's like, God, I just want to be a Mizzou Tiger. And all I want these fans to do is to want me to be their quarterback. And he won me over with that. And now he's having a phenomenal year. He's leading our team in so many. He's such a good quarterback. He's having a great year. So to see him succeed is amazing. Okay, second, our running back. Cody Schrader is his name. Let me tell you about this guy. He transferred in. He played 4 years before. He's a St. Louis kid. Played at Lutheran South, which is this high school, this little private high school here in St. Louis. Not a big school, little private high school. I mean, smaller. And then he went to this small college in Northwest Missouri. It was actually called Northwest Missouri State. Tiny school. I didn't even know they had a football team, to be honest. So it was called Northwest Missouri State. A few years ago, they changed the name to Truman after Harry S. Truman, the president from Missouri. Truman State. But anyway, it's a small school. Like, it's not in the big division with football. Like, they have a really tiny football team. One of the boosters knew Cody, talked to the football coach at Mizzou, and let him walk on. So they were just going to put him on the team and not really let him play. Through his work ethic, the coach said, we'll give you a shot. This guy is now leading the league in rushing and running the ball. We are in the premier football division in college football, the SEC. This guy that walked on, because he only gets 1 year, because this is a bonus year, because he already played 4 at this other school. He's leading the league, and he's only 5'9". It's all heart. And I'm telling you what, this is a kid that went to St. Louis. He's from St. Louis, and as a kid, all he wanted to do as a kid was be a Mizzou Tiger. And he only gets to do it for 1 year. And he went to that small school because they said he was too small. He couldn't go to Mizzou, but he never quit working. He got a chance to walk on. He proved his mettle to the coach, and he's getting 1 year. You know what happened? He set an SEC record this past Saturday, 200 rushing yards, 100 passing yards, had never, ever, ever been done in the league. You know what happened at the end of the game? His teammates carried him off the field on their shoulders. So cool. I mean, to see that. Third, we have a wide receiver. One of the best in the country. He's up for an award for the best college player in the country, Luther Burden. He's from East St. Louis, Missouri. Awesome. East St. Louis, Missouri, one of the most, economically deprived places in the United States of America, has that really high crime rate, really high poverty rate. He's at Mizzou. He's going to get to probably play in the NFL. He's playing his heart out as an injured player, and he's just giving it all he's got, and he's succeeding. He's got an NIL deal. He's hawking pizzas. He's got potato chips in our grocery stores. He's succeeding. He's smiling. He's having a good time playing football. These kids are from St. Louis, and they're succeeding, and that's what I love about my team. We're the underdogs, and it's made up of kids that want to be at our school. They want to be at Missouri. They don't want to be, at Texas A&M. They don't want to be at, and I love Alabama, don't get me wrong, or Georgia, or, UCLA or USC, or these big schools, Ohio State. They want to be Missouri Tigers, even though we're kind of always the underdog. Nobody really thinks about Missouri outside of Missouri, but they're staying with us. And that makes me so proud of our team that we're having success this year. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm proud to see Cody Schrader get carried off the field on his teammates' shoulders. Man, he's living the dream. And that makes me proud. All right, let's hit the feedback from last week. And last week we talked about finding the joy in small things. And I found a ton of joy in just seeing the success of 3 St. Louis kids who actually the dream came true for them. Michelle, my good friend down in Boynton Beach, Florida, she says, I turned 50 last year, and it still sounds unreal to say. My wife said something about me being 50 the other day, and I said, hold up, I'm still in my 40s. She said it last night, actually. I said, I still have a couple weeks. You better back off. You're in your 50s. I said, but I'm still in my 40s. So slow your roll. Michelle continues, 50 was a lot older when we were younger. Happy early birthday to you. It's not so bad here in the 50s. I'm a big believer in finding joy in the little things. Here's my top three right now. Number one, sports, specifically football and hockey. I've always enjoyed watching, but having really gotten more into sports the last few years brings me joy to follow. By the way, I enjoy the added sports talk on the podcast. Well, hope Michelle enjoys that, because really what Mizzou is this year is a human interest story. It's like watching Remember the Titans. Like when he got carried off the field, I could hear the score, the music behind it. It was like I have tears right now because it's the climax of the movie. Now we're not done. We got two games. We got to play the Gators this Saturday night at Como at Faroe Field. We're gonna be. I even bought Mallory and her best friend tickets so they could be there. Oh man, I'm so nervous about playing the Gators. They always seem to play us well. We're playing for big prizes now. And so I hope you enjoy that, Michelle. But yeah, for Saturday night will be you can watch us on ESPN. Hopefully we pull that one off. Okay, number two, my pets. I've been working from home more lately, and getting to be with my dog and cats brings me joy. Absolutely. Riley, I just talked about that. Joy in your pets is awesome. And number three, the peppermint shake is back at Chick-fil-A this week. I'm not into peppermint shakes. I'm not into peppermint and ice cream, but I'm glad it brings you joy, Michelle. You know what, though? My wife told me that Chick-fil-A is going to have a caramel something or other shake this year. That will bring me joy. And by the way, you might have saw this on Twitter the other day. I discovered a new kind of candy bar 2 days ago. It's called a Payday. All it is peanuts and caramel. There's no chocolate involved. It was in with the Halloween candy and the still leftover Halloween candy bucket. There were two of them, the mini bars, the fun size, whatever you call them. And I just grabbed it because I don't know. I was like, that looks interesting, and ate it. I was like, oh my God, where have these things been my whole life? Because all it was peanuts and caramel, but holy cow, that was good. So I'm a now Payday guy, but I got to go find a full size. John Luther, hey, Mike, don't stress turning 50. I did it a few weeks ago. We're all the same age here. I did it a few weeks ago, and the wheels have not fallen off yet. It doesn't mean what it did back when we were kids. Some of the many things that bring me joy. Your request for things that bring us joy is feedback. I've learned more about mindfulness in the last few years, and I try to do this exercise every so often. I have 3 peanut butter pie cookies from the Main Street Confectionery still in our freezer. If my kids hear this, I'm just kidding. There are no hidden cookies in the freezer. Okay, hang on. I think I did this for Ricky last night. Let's see. Yes. Oh, there are no hidden in. There you go. So I just beeped it out. So there you go. John continues with running brings him joy. The end of the run brings me joy. More than the beginning and the middle. John says, listening to music, friendships, my children. I've seen both of them grow this year and attempting things they would not have a year ago. I'm super proud of them. Totally agree with that. When you see your kids do stuff, it just, man, your heart just swells. It's like, what's the Grinch's heart swells? I mean, we don't have to be the Grinch, but like, you just feel good. Like, it's like, man, you just puff out your chest. Like, my kid did that. That's awesome. And he says, my wife, I'm amazed that she puts up with me. She sees me at both my best and my worst and is stuck around anyhow. There's so much to be joyful about, even through the toughest times. John, that is so well said. My wife, I don't know why my wife's, I married up so far that it's unbelievable. And she lets me do this kind of stuff. I don't know who else would. I got lucky. I got so lucky. All right, Dennis has some feedback, my good friend down in Texas, who I hope to be visiting maybe at a Cotton Bowl here soon. Here are the things that bring me joy right now. Number 1, hockey season. LGB, let's go Blues. Number 2, planning activities for and counting down to my next cruise in January. Oh my gosh, it's going to be here soon, Dennis, because I'm counting down to Marathon and Disneyland. And so that's got to be coming for you soon. Number 3, eating a meal at the table with my wife and both of my boys. See, simple, but awesome. I love them. That makes me happy. Just to sit down at a meal at the table with your family, because you get to have conversation. You get to enjoy the food. And I'll tell you what, I would love to sit at a table with Dennis and his family, because Dennis's meals look amazing when I see them on Instagram. Number 4, my wife's baking. She makes fresh bread and cookies every week. Okay, I just need to go to the Keithley's. That's how it is. Number 5, the fall weather after the 100 plus degree heat from this past summer. Amazing. Number 6, Mizzou's football season. M-I-Z. It's why, Dennis, love you. And number 7, firing up my grill on the weekends. Dennis, you are awesome, and I'm thankful for everything you are thankful for. I love it. See, we're awesome. We all get along well. And Marsha Hopkins says, I love the reminder to reflect on the things I'm thankful for. Number 1, having grown children that are friends with each other. That is awesome. When I see that Paige does stuff with Mallory, that warms my heart, that they are becoming adult friends. That makes me happy. Number 2, a husband that I still enjoy spending time with and makes me laugh every day. I hope my wife says that about me. That's the hope. I try to make her laugh. I mean, I'm not that funny. 3, my church family who supports us during times of need and rejoice with us in times of joy. That is so well said. That is so well said. That's what a family should do, whether it's nuclear family, blood family, church family, friend family. That's awesome. You should support and rejoice. That's what the Bible says. Number 4, daughters who love college football as much as I do. I love it. Another side note, I love the sandwich at Chick-fil-A also. Amen. That sandwich, I can't stop thinking about it. And I think about it twice as hard on Sundays when Chick-fil-A is closed. Here's another thing. So when I become president, we're going to get rid of the freestyle machines, right? The Coke freestyle machines. I've said that, and I have a couple other platforms. Another platform that I'm going to run on is that it is going to be illegal to run Chick-fil-A commercials on a Sunday. Dude, I'm for Chick-fil-A being closed on a Sunday. I love that. I think that's a great idea. However, they should not be able to run commercials on Sundays that just makes you want Chick-fil-A 7 times as hard when the stores aren't open. Like, what's up with that? I know they're trying to get you to go on Monday, but let's just knock that off because I don't have the willpower. Like when I see that honey pimento chicken sandwich, like staring me in the face at 11 a.m. on a Sunday or, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever it is, I don't want to wait till, next Saturday. I want the thing now. So yeah, knock off the commercials on a Sunday. Okay. That's enough of that. Thank you for everybody for the great feedback. You have feedback for this show or any other show, let me know. Patreon.com/BRGuest Podcast. Okay, real quick. Here is the gist of today's show. I made a list and I want to hear your list. It's going to be quick. So here we go. It is my top 10 places to eat at Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or Disney Cruise Line right now. All right, these are my top 10 places. Now you got to pick between those 3 locations. You get Disneyland, Walt Disney World, and Disney Cruise Line. Any of the ships, and it could be counter service and it could be table service. And I did not rank them 1 to 10. I just made a list and I kind of moved them around and I didn't want to put them in order. So these are the ones that I came up with over a 2.5-hour walk on the treadmill this morning. So here we go. And some of these you'll know because I talk about them all the time. Number 1, Olivia's Cafe at Old Key West. Just great atmosphere, great value for your money. The servers there have always been kind. If it's good weather and you can sit outside on that patio and watch people come and go, the excitement of people heading out, coming back from the theme parks. You can look out on the water. You can see the boats going to Disney Springs. Buttermilk chicken is the way to go for dinner. I think, with the green beans is really good. They have a great breakfast there as well. Olivia's Cafe is one of my choices. Number 2, at the Studios, 50s Primetime Cafe. I like it because it's gimmicky. You get kind of a little bit of a show. The environment is super cool. It's great for pictures. The food is solid because I don't get this kind of food very often. I don't get home. I never get meatloaf. I never get pot roast. Those are 2 things I don't get, and I usually get the sampler. So then I'll get the fried chicken with it, with the mashed potatoes and the green beans. That's a really good meal for me. Of course, the peanut butter and jelly shake is why I go. It's the star of the show, but it's the whole thing because you put all that together, you're getting really good comfort. Both of these first two places, comfort food. That's what I like the best, comfort food. But you're getting fun service, a very unique environment with a storyline. So 50s Primetime Cafe, second choice. Now these aren't 1 to 10. Number 3, Beer Garden at Epcot. This is a buffet. but it's also a very cool environment. So when you go into Beer Garden, you go into basically like a little village if you've never been there. You sit down, it's communal too, which I like and I appreciate. Some people, this isn't for you. It reminds me of Cruise Line, where you sit with other people sometimes on a cruise and you get to share your experiences. Instead of like on a cruise, you might share what you did on your port adventures that day or what you did around the ship that day. At Epcot, you might share, what you did around the park that day with the family or where you're from. They might share where they're from. But the food there is amazing. They have great meats, of course, like, it's German food. So you got stuff like sauerkraut and you got stuff, all the meats, you got your bratwurst, sausages, but they have great desserts. You might not think about that. They had really good desserts, breads, pretzels, but there's a wide variety of foods. Like I thought it would be kind of limited. There's a huge variety of food, potatoes, starches. You would like it, like big old beers. I don't drink beer, but if you're into beer, they have huge beers and live entertainment there too, like a band. And it's just beautiful in there. And it's not terribly expensive. It's a pretty good value. So Beer Garden lands in my list. So that's 3 of my top 10. Number 4, the ABC Commissary over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. You know why? It's because of the buffalo chicken grilled cheese sandwich with the steak fries. I just love that for a counter service meal. Every time I go to Walt Disney World, I get this probably twice. But if you look at their menu, a lot of people pick a lot of things off that menu. Also, it has Coke Zero. It also has self-serve Coke Zero. So you can get as many Coke Zeros as you want. It also has palm trees on the inside, which are kind of fun, inside palm trees. And it has a really killer background loop as you're sitting down and eating. I like it. It all adds up. ABC Commissary for the win over at the studios. These aren't numbered. Carnation Cafe at Disneyland. We had a great meal at Carnation Cafe when we were out there with Scott's family. We sat outside. So you're eating outside. Think about this on Main Street, USA at Disneyland. And I think I had a burger and fries. It wasn't anything real fancy. And it was on the 4th of July. I think it was on the 4th of July. It felt like it. We were there over the 4th of July holiday. And it was just like, wow, I'm having a meal on Main Street, USA at Disneyland and just watching the people come and go, watching the Main Street vehicles come and go. It was like a storybook and the food was great. The server was terrible. I think the server actually left in the middle of our meal. We got a second server. It was pretty wild, but it was just cool because you could sit outside. The weather was awesome. But Carnation Cafe, because it had a little flower on the table, a little checkerboard tablecloth. So Carnation Cafe, one of the better meals I had at Disneyland. I hope to eat there again. Next place, Blue Bayou in Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland. Oh my gosh, everything about this meal was perfect. The Monte Cristo tasted so good. I mean, how can you not like a fried ham sandwich with like jelly on it, right? So the Monte Cristo was awesome. We had hurricanes. So we had our adult beverages. I was there with my friends and the environment of it's just, you're in Pirates of the Caribbean. You hear the crickets chirping. You can see the boats going by. We had a great table. In just the history of the Blue Bayou, like you're at Disneyland and the food was great. The drinks were great. The company was great. I was there with my best bud and his friends and my family. Blue Bayou. I mean, definitely always going to be in my top 10. Can't wait to get back there. Another place, this one is probably not going to make anybody else's list. The Hungry Bear at Disneyland. Now, again, a counter service place. I don't know what it was. The best chicken sandwich at Disneyland at the Hungry Bear with some fries. But also, I think it was the environment. We took it up. You could eat outside on the deck by Splash Mountain back at the time and just kind of relax and watch the train goes right by there. And we just sat up there and we had the best time just relaxing with our food. The weather was great. Eating outside, Southern California. I mean, the Disneyland train cruising by, Rivers of America nearby. It was just, I don't know if I needed that chicken sandwich or what, but it tasted so stinking good. I just loved eating at the Hungry Bear. Next, let's go the opposite direction. Palo Brunch pick your ship. I'll pick the Disney Fantasy. Um, that food is so stinking good at the Palo Brunch because they take care of you. A few times because of Pam Forrester's kindness, we've been able to eat in the private room. But either way, even if you're in the regular Palo dining room, just the food there, just like I mean, like little pizzas or flatbreads or whatever they call them because it's real fancy. They just melt in your mouth. The eggs Benedict, oh my gosh, the eggs Benedict at Palo, just I can't even hardly talk it. Like, I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm just so good. Palo Brunch. If you have to do that if you ever go on Disney Cruise Line. Two more. Enchanted Garden is my table service location on, say, the Disney Dream. I like that restaurant. I think Scott references this on a show this week. It's just cute. It's cute. It's got a water fountain in the middle. It's got these little booths. It's got nice little tables around the outside. I just like the feel of this restaurant off the main atrium on the Fantasy and the Dream. And it's a cute little restaurant. I like it. And the food there's, it's the same, but I just like the feel of this restaurant. It's kind of fairy tale-ish. It, I for some reason I really do like the Enchanted Garden. And my last choice, you might say, "Oh my gosh, Mike didn't mention it." Maya Grill at Coronado Springs. Yes, I got to have my Mexican on here, and this is my place. It's got great Mexican options, especially fajitas. It's got a great margarita flight. It's not terribly expensive. Coronado Springs is a great resort to stay, and it's got live, smooth jazz. So you got to get over there. So those are my top 10 places. If I had to go somewhere right now, like 10 locations to eat on Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney World, or Disneyland, that is where I would go today. But what I would like to hear, along with some of this other feedback from this, we could have a lot of feedback for next Tuesday leading into Thanksgiving, which I would like. Give me your quick top 10 list. So go to patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Drop it in this week if you can. Think about it. Just make it on, use your notes app as you're jogging or walking around this week. And where would your top 10 right now be for those 3 locations? I can't wait to hear it. All right, jumping out of here. Hope you have a great week. I appreciate you so very much. And I hope life smiles on you this week. Hope, Lady Luck is good to you. So have a good one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. See you guys. Have a good one.